لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الهداة المهديين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشف صدر الحسين بظهور الحجة صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. My dear brothers and sisters, Salamun Alaikum Jami'an wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our a'mal and our aza and our mourning commemorations for Aba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam in the past 10 nights, and tonight being the last in the series that we are here in the service of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. I would like to personally, first and foremost, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing me with this opportunity to be within this wonderful community of Edmonton and be with the mu'mineen and share their thoughts and be able to share some thoughts on my side as well. Alhamdulillah, I appreciate the hospitality as well of the community, and I appreciate and thank each one of the mu'mineen and the mu'minat for their du'as, for their feedback, and inshallah I hope and wish that you will continue to remember this young brother of yours and your son of yours, inshallah, in your du'as. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We started off our discussion from the first night of Muharram on moving our thinking and our paradigm towards a Hussayni worldview. And obviously, it is a target that is a lifelong goal. It's not possible for us to change completely into a Hussayni worldview over a span of only 10 days. But there are some who do end up making the switch to come on the path of Imam al-Hussein, at least in these 10 nights. But the journey to become like Imam al-Hussein and to emulate him, to be on his footsteps, is a lifelong journey. And it starts over here. And we've talked about thinking Husseini, first of all, on the path to acting Husseini and becoming Husseini eventually. And we've talked about different ideological concepts that will help us become people who think like Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. We talked about some personal characteristics that we can inculcate from the life of Imam al-Hussein, from his sayings into our lives, so that we can be in our character like Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. We've also seen some currents and trends that we can see in the life of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein that he wants us to implement in our lifestyle as well. And we looked at lifestyle choices as well. We looked at choices in our personal lives, in our family lives, in the community, setting as well. We talked about youth, we talked about marriage, we talked about seniors. And yesterday we talked about the maraja and the concept of marja'iyya. Today I would like to conclude the discussion and bring it to a place where, inshallah, if there's tawfiq in the future, we can carry forward this discussion, inshallah. But today I would like to bring our attention towards a concept that is of very prime importance in Islam. It is a concept for which the A'immah have not only given their lives, but they have let go of their rights in some cases. And the concept that we're talking about here, apart from the concept of justice, we know that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam gave his life for justice, and all of the A'immah eventually were seeking justice, and Imam al-Mahdi inshallah will reappear to establish justice. But there is one prime quality that the community of believers needs to have, so that the movement of not only the Shia, not only the Muslim community towards justice is easier, rather the whole of humanity can move towards justice in an easier way. And this concept is the concept of unity. Wahda, ittihad. Brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in many places in the Holy Quran has reminded us of this responsibility of being a united community. On one hand, in Surah Al-Hujurat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. The mu'minun, the believers, those who profess their iman, they are nothing but brothers. The word innama is there. Innama refers to a place where there is no other relation except this relation. Compare this to the verse of Tathir. How does it start? إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد. Where it means that Allah wants only to purify and does not want anything else apart from purification of the Ahlul Bayt. Right? That's what innama means in that verse. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. If you are looking at a community of believers, if they were to come and say, is he your brother? You should not even twitch for a second and say, yes, he is my brother. Is she your sister? You shouldn't even think twice. Yes, she is my sister. In some cases, this community of believers, the brothers and sisters are so close, and sometimes we find that our brother in iman is closer to us than our brother in blood, or sister likewise. When it comes time that I am in difficulty, I sometimes find it easier to approach my brother in iman than to approach my brother in my family, from my blood relations. And Allah is laying down this spiritual brotherhood on the basis of iman. We may have our biological brotherhood and sisterhood as siblings, but more than this material realm, remember the Hussayni paradigm is based on the belief that there's a soul and a body. In our biological relationships, we are connected based on our bodies, based on our genes, based on our connection to a set of parents. But when it comes to the soul, a connection of brotherhood based on the soul and on the spirit is far more valuable than the connection we have based on just body and blood. Brothers and sisters, this concept of brotherhood transcends race. There's no racism in Islam because of this. It transcends geographical location. We don't discriminate based on people being from a certain part of the world or a certain part of our own country just because they're different. There is no discrimination based on language. There is no discrimination even based on clan or tribe. There is no discrimination based on socio-economic background. All men are brothers and all women are sisters. And we're all a community of believers. And we are nothing but united in a bond of spirituality. Brothers and sisters, if this is the way we look at the people around us, we will start to look at how Imam al-Husayn's ashab came together. And we will start to see that spirit of brotherhood that was in the ashab of the Imam come and transcend into our own communities as well. When you look at the companions of Imam, they were diverse just like our own communities. You had on one hand a person from Africa, John. On the other hand, you had somebody who was Christian, who had just become Muslim, Wahab. On one hand, you had a slave who was Turkish in the camps of Imam al-Husayn. You had Arabs, you had Ajam, you had Iranians, Persians. You had from, even some reports say you had some from India. All united in the ashab of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam. All united. And they were all looking forward to sacrifice their lives for the Imam of the time. Aren't we doing the same? Aren't we wanting to sacrifice ourselves and what we have for the Imam of our time? Well, if we are, that is the highest and the best place for us to unite based on. Then our differences in location, differences of our background should not really matter. Inshallah, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to start giving us this thinking and to make us move forward in this way of thinking, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, today's discussion, I would like to, now for the next section, I would like to, before Masa'ib, go over 2 sections. 5 traits that can wreck a community, and a few problem-solving strategies that community leaders and community members can implement. And these problem-solving strategies, when community issues come up, are not limited to the Jamaat president or the executive. This is a responsibility of everybody. We can't say, okay, alokache, they will take care of it. No. This is everybody's responsibility. All right? But before we get into those problem-solving strategies, let's look at some of the things, and very quickly, what are some of the things that create division? Because we want unity, and division will take our unity away. We've talked about one of these already, and that is arrogance. In one of the first few lectures, we talked about kibr and takabbur, and this whole idea that I am better than somebody else. This feeling of being better than somebody else, it actually breaks down and burns away all of our good deeds. It takes it away. We have nothing left to look forward to in the hereafter because of takabbur. And a community where a person has takabbur, or a group of people have takabbur, they look down upon another group from within the community. This is one of the greatest reasons why a community divides up. Sometimes people say, he doesn't know anything. Oh, she doesn't know anything. Well, what do you mean? Well, they are human beings after all. And we have a responsibility of doing amr bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar. Instead of judging them, let's say, brother, sister, this is my opinion, what do you think about it? Instead of judging them and casting them aside and making our own subgroups. Another quality, now if arrogance is a problem, then the solution is in humility. We need to be humble with everybody in the community. Another reason that communities split is hasad, jealousy. That person has the top-notch car that I would like to have as well, but since I don't have it, I am jealous. I will do anything and everything to make that person look bad because I'm jealous, right? And even if that person, God forbid, had this intention to show off based on their car, that's another issue. But this hasad, jealousy, not only a car, it could be anything, right? It could be education, it could be a job, it could be a social status, it could be a certain family they come from. Brothers and sisters, why do we eventually give value to these things that originate and pull us back towards the dunya? These are dunyawi things. We've talked about the paradigm of Imam al-Hussein. His wish is to move ourselves towards the akhirah. Not look back at the dunya and keep stuck to the dunya. When we get engaged and involved in dunyawi things, these things that are material, we start to compete in these material things, and then there is jealousy. Then there is hasad. What is the cure for hasad? The cure is, I wish for everybody what I wish for myself. And rather, I wish better for everybody than what I wish for myself. If I don't have it, somebody else has it, I say, Alhamdulillah, oh Allah, thank you very much. You gave my mu'min brother better than me. Spiritual brotherhood, eh? Oh Allah, thank you very much. Alhamdulillah, somebody in the community has at least this good job, or has a good status, has a good position somewhere. Alhamdulillah, if I don't have it, my mu'min brother or sister has it. The cure for hasad is to wish better for people. Another issue, another quality that people do very easily, and this in the words of the Holy Quran is like eating and chewing the meat and flesh of your brother and sister in Iman. And this is nothing but ghiba, backbiting. Backbiting. Backbiting itself is the meaning, right? You backbite, bite somebody's back. When they are behind, when they're not listening, when they're not available, and when they're not aware of your conversation, you talk about certain things that they would not like. That's backbiting, that's ghiba. And backbiting is not only through talk. Sometimes our even ishara can be backbiting. One day a lady came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she had a question, and she came in the home where Rasulullah was, and one of his wives was sitting nearby. And this lady, her stature was short. Yeah? So when she talked to Rasulullah and she was going away, this wife of the Holy Prophet, that lady was walking outwards, her back was towards the Holy Prophet and the wife. She looked at Rasulullah and she said, like that, indicating that she is short and trying to bring out the deficiency in a negative way. Had that lady turned around and looked at that wife of the Holy Prophet, what would have happened to that wife of the Holy Prophet? She would be embarrassed. At that moment, Rasulullah said to her, "Ightabti, you have done her backbiting. You just backbit her." Brothers and sisters, sometimes some of these small short sayings as well, like, Joe. Sometimes these are also considered backbiting. Not only are we talking in our corner saying, you know what, this happened to that person, this happened, that happened to that person. Yeah? These things take away the honor and the dignity and respect of a person in the community. I, as a person, would not want anybody to take my respect and dignity away based on something that I do not want anybody to know. It's my personal issue. Nobody knows about it. One person comes to know about it, spreads it in the community. This is backbiting. This is ghiba. And it is, in fact, in the words of the Quran, and this is not a hyperbole, it's not exaggeration. In reality, there was a lady who came to Rasulullah and she was backbiting. Alaykum as-salam. And she was fasting. And Rasulullah offered her food. She said, Rasulullah, I'm fasting. He said, no, you're not fasting. You just ate the flesh of your sister in faith. Eat this. And this was a lesson to her, obviously. And this is a reality. We in the spiritual realm are eating literally pieces of meat or flesh of our mu'min brother or sister when we backbite. What is the cure for backbiting? We keep to ourselves those things that are secret, that a person would not like to be exposed, and there is no public harm to somebody else as well. If those things are to be exposed and there is benefit to somebody, in those cases ghiba is allowed. For example, somebody wants to get married, and if you do not tell them that this person has this issue, you're going to get married and spend the whole life with them, here ghiba is allowed. You can talk to them and say, yes, I know this person. These are some of the things that are not exposed to you. You don't know about it. But here, think about these things as you are thinking about getting married to this person. Or if a person does those evil acts openly, even here, the Maraji say it is allowed to talk about it. But obviously we want to keep the honor and respect of the mu'min as much as possible, because Allah is Sattar al-Uyub, and we have to be also concealer, Sattar of the defects of the Uyub of the mu'minin. As much as possible, brothers and sisters. It's not something to play with. A mu'min's honor is Allah's honor. If a mu'min's honor is taken away and disrespected, Allah is on the other side. He will take the revenge for the honor of that mu'min. Let's not play with people's honor. Let's not play with people's dignity. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So we've talked about arrogance and its solution. We've talked about hasad, jealousy, and how to deal with it. We just discussed backbiting. Backbiting comes when we talk about things that have actually happened and are true. But there are sometimes some things don't even happen and they're talked about behind people's backs. Like for example, if a person did not even do something, but I am assuming this person did it, and I say, do you know this person did this, so and so, such and such thing? This act did not even take place, but I'm talking about it. This now is not ghiba, it is tohma. Tohma in Arabic. And this is even worse, because at least ghiba has a reality behind it. Something has happened that you're talking about, even though it's not something you should talk about. But tohma is something that did not even take place and you're ascribing to somebody. Well, what's the solution to this? Tohma. Well, we need to base ourselves on facts, base ourselves on reality. But here, brothers and sisters, Mawla Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi afdalus salati was salam, warns us. The best way to avoid tohma is in these beautiful words of Mawla Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. He says, Mu'mineen, believers, Man wada'a nafsahu mawadhi'a tuhma fala yalumanna man asa'a al-dhanni bih. Do not put yourselves in a situation that will invite tohma. Do not put yourselves in a situation that would invite tohma. For example, I am in a car, and I go park my car. God forbid this happens, but if I go park my car next to a bar or a liquor store, na'udhu billah, nastajiru billah min dhalik, and somebody sees me get off my car and walk towards that store, right? Even though they may not have seen me go in, what is the first assumption they would have? This person's going in, buying something haram, and will probably later consume that haram thing, right? And then this goes on the community watch, sharing, do you know, I saw that person parked by the liquor store, he went in and he probably got something, and haram, astaghfirullah, what is happening in our community, where have we come, where is Islam in the community, ya Allah, wa wayla, and this happens even though this person may not have even gone into the liquor store to begin with. But the one thing that Imam is telling us now that he did or she did is they actually put themselves in a position that invites tuhma. And Imam is saying, keep away from this as well. Another example that I would like to give that's very common is being around non-mahrams. In our workplace, in our school, college, university, we are always around people who are non-mahram to ourselves, right? Sharia has given guidelines to us and said, limit your interactions to what is only necessary. Yeah? And therefore, even the first sense of interaction that is physical is made haram. Not only you're not looking at the non-mahram, obviously with lust and with fear of falling into sin, you're not even touching the non-mahram. That's haram as well. Now, if a person, a very respected member of the community, is seen walking down the street with another non-mahram person next to them, is this not inviting tuhma to the person? It is. It clearly is. And if somebody sees them, then it can be reported. Now, nowadays, it's even easier to do tuhma. People secretly grab their iPhones, take a picture, Facebook. It's easier. And they say, you think I'm doing tuhma? Look at this picture now. Astaghfirullah, this person has an honor. This person has dignity. But this person also, as they say in Urdu, apne haath se apne pair pe kulhadi marna. Right? They have actually hurt themselves by their own actions. Right? So here Mawla is telling us, stay away from these situations which will invite people's su'ul dhann, that people will think negatively about you, and this will lead towards tuhma, which is even worse than ghiba. Brothers and sisters, as I'm talking about these issues are there everywhere. And as a community that wants to be united, focused on the path of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, these are certain ills and issues that need to be talked about and need to be uprooted from our communities. And this is where Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi anil Munkar needs to be done. If you see somebody doing ghiba, please don't listen to it, walk away from it. If you can't walk away from the situation, at least defend that person whose ghiba is being done. Defend that person. You know that person has not done this. Or even if he has done this, you say, this is a personal matter, we should not be getting into this. Or talk positively about that person. Otherwise, the person speaking is involved in the sin of ghiba, even the person listening is involved in the sin of ghiba. It's not only the person who is doing ghiba, it's the one who listens and who is around as well, promoting the act of ghiba. Sharia is very serious about these things, brothers and sisters. And we move on to the last one. And this is now su'ul dhann, to think negatively about people. And this is something that, brothers and sisters, if we focus on this one quality, all the other qualities will start to fall into place, inshallah. Why do we always do not err on the side of caution when it comes to the point when we're thinking about people? The first thought that we have about a mu'min brother or sister is a negative thought. We don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Rather, we have a hadith from the Aimma alayhimus salam. There is a hadith from Imam as-Sadiq alayhi afdalus salati was salam. Allahumma salli. That Imam says, when you see a mu'min brother doing something wrong, do not be quick to judge. Rather, give him or her as many possibilities that you can think of to give them benefit of the doubt. You're actually seeing them do haram. Seeing them, As they say, seeing is believing, right? But here Imam is saying, when you see even somebody, this is no tuhma, this is no ghiba now. This is actually seeing. But when you see somebody even do something haram, give them the benefit of the doubt. For example, maybe this person does not know this is haram. Maybe this person, for example, this sometimes happens with food and halal ingredients and haram foods as well. They're picking up a pack of chips that we know is haram, but maybe they don't know. We are quick to judge and we say, this person is eating haram food and feeding kids haram. Maybe they don't realize it. Maybe they haven't done that research. Till the time they haven't done that research, we do not have a right to ascribe to them something negative in our minds. We don't. For example, some incident happens and this person does not know about that incident in the community. And this person is now totally unknown to him or her. Somebody starts to expect that this person is already in the loop and knows everything. And there are certain expectations that this person will behave like. Well, brothers and sisters, again, we are trying to expect things that we should not be expecting from people. And this is one of the issues, brothers and sisters, where we start to first thought that comes to our mind when it is about a mu'min brother or sister. If it is a negative thought, it is su'ul dhan. Rather, we should have husnul dhan. We should have a positive view and image. This person has iman in their heart. This person is actually a believer in Allah, in the Prophet, in the Quran, in the Ahl al-Bayt, in Imam al-Hussein. This person, if they know something is wrong, they will not do it. Why do we not give them the benefit of the doubt? Here again, Amr bil Ma'ruf comes in. If that person does not know, it's our responsibility. And today's discussion on ahkam, Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar does not become wajib till some of these conditions are met. We can't just go and say to that any person, why are you doing this? Or you should be doing this. Amr bil Ma'ruf is encouraging people towards goodness. Nahy anil Munkar is forbidding people from doing something haram. Now, there are many conditions that the ulama mentioned, but I've picked 3 most common that we face. And brothers and sisters, if a person in question that we are looking at does not know that that thing is wajib, or does not know that thing is haram, and they're committing it, we do not do amra bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar there. Rather, we have a duty to go teach them and inform them. It's not amra bil ma'ruf there. It's actually ta'aleemul jahil, as they call it in Arabic. Number 1. Number 2, Sayyid Sistani says, it is wajib on you to do amra bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar if you give the possibility that this person will accept your advice. If this person is in a state that you, when you talk to them, they will be willing to listen to you and accept your advice. Not that any person standing in that corner of the Hussayniya and say, hey brother, this is not what you should be doing. When you take people's honor away, nobody would want to listen. Rather, going closer and telling them in their ear, or very politely, brother, I think this is a better way of doing it. Sister, maybe this is a better way of doing it. That is the way we should do it. And there has to be this possibility of acceptance. If this person will not accept and you're sure, you will go do amr bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar and become embarrassed yourself as a result because this person walks away, it's not wajib to do amr bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar, but it is wajib ihtiyatan to show your aversion and your distaste from that situation. You should have at least a frown on your face. It shouldn't be that haram, gunah, kabira is taking place in the community. I know if I raise my voice, it will not have an impact. It will not be taken. But I can't just be all bashash and my face be happy and smiling, thinking everything is normal. No, I need to have a frown at least on my face. I need to indicate my displeasure in some way or the other to that act that is happening. And finally, another condition that needs to be met, and this is very interesting. Brothers and sisters, we sometimes think that a person doing an act has been doing this for eternity, and they will continue to do it forever. Yeah? But the Masail, the Maraji say that the person in question that you're looking at, and you know that they're doing something haram knowingly, but you have a duty to do amr bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar only if you're sure they are going to continue doing it. But if in any case you feel or you realize that this person has come to an understanding and a realization that what they're doing is not right, or they're about to stop doing it, there is no need for you to do amr bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar. There's no need. This is what Islam wants as the dignity and honor of a mu'min. We can't go around playing with people's honor and dignity and respect. And if we all were to maintain everybody else's dignities, inshallah, Allah will maintain our dignity in the eyes of everybody else. This is how communities are built, my dear brothers and sisters, in the eyes of the Ahlul Bayt. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I had a few discussions about some strategies, but one strategy, inshallah, I'll move towards the Masa'ib. Obviously, the mu'mineen are brothers and sisters in spirit. They're spiritual brothers and sisters. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in many places has not only asked us to have taqwa when it comes to dealing with people, have justice. When two groups within the mu'mineen end up fighting or having differences, it is our responsibility to bring them together. It is our responsibility. As Allah says in Surah Al-Anfal, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنفَالِ, the very first verse. قُلِ الْأَنفَالُ لِلَّهِ وَلِلرَّسُولِ فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَصْلِحُوا ذَاتَ بَيْنِكُمْ. Have Allah's consciousness, be conscious of Allah, and do islah of that al-bayn, as they call it in Arabic. Islah that al-bayn. What does that mean? Islah is what Imam al-Hussein rose for as well. Well, we need to do islah. That al-bayn means reforming the affairs of the community from within. If there are differences, and this is what I mentioned earlier, this is not only the responsibility of, say, the marriage committee, or it is not only the responsibility of the executive committee or the president or the executive members. It is the responsibility of each and every mu'min and mu'mina in the community. Wherever they see there is difference, they need to bring people together. Use your status as a mediator between two brothers in faith or two sisters in faith, and this will be your token on the Day of Judgment. This is something you can count on. We never know which of our a'mal are accepted near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but islah that al-bayn is one of those acts, brothers and sisters, bringing peace and harmony back in the community. It's one of those things, whether it's between spouses, or it's between two families, or it's between a group of mu'mineen and another group of mu'mineen. The harmonization and bringing harmony in the community is something that the A'imma have stressed. Brothers and sisters, to that extent that the Imam alayhi salam himself says, my heart pains when I see this. And there was an incident where Imam as-Sadiq was talking to his wakil, his representative. He said, what happened to those two brothers that were not on good terms? They said they have a disagreement on the inheritance from their father or from one of their family members. Imam said, what is the matter? What are they basing their differences on? He said, a few hundred dinars. Imam said, here, take from my money and settle the dispute. Imam is ready to spend money from his own to settle the differences within the mu'mineen. Brothers and sisters, does this not tell us how important it is to do islah that al-bayn? Here, in our day and age, if there is an issue between communities or within groups of people within the community, it is important that we can even use imams, sahmi imam, obviously with the permission of the marja, to settle disputes. We can put a request into the marja and his wakil. But this is something that is considered sadaqah jariyah. This will keep counting for us. There is a hadith that says, sadaqah that you spend, any amount of money now, any amount of money from your own pocket that you spend to bring two hearts of the mu'mineen together is something that will give you benefits throughout in the hereafter as well. Brothers and sisters, it doesn't always have to be money. The sadaqah can be a sadaqah of our time. If we give time to help people out, if we give our skills to help people out, resolve disputes in the community. And this is something that we all need to do. It's a wajib on all of us, inshallah. We take this seriously and we move forward into the direction that the Ahlul Bayt want from us. Brothers and sisters, the Imam of our time is heart pains to see a community divided. He is waiting. His grandfather, Imam Mawla Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, stayed quiet in his home to avoid creating division in the ummah. Division in the ummah is one of the worst things that can happen. And where does it start from? From the community level. Brothers and sisters, the Imam of our time is waiting for us to set aside our differences, to be prepared, united, prepared for the coming of the Imam. Brothers and sisters, we'll have to stand next to each other in the army of the Imam. There I can't say that, oh, I am better than him or her, or I have more authority or status than him. Mawla will say, if you think this way, please proceed aside. When we start to think of ourselves better than others, we don't elevate ourselves, rather we degrade our own selves in the eyes of Allah. And the Imam is waiting for us, the Shia, to prepare themselves and to move forward in the direction of preparation. Brothers and sisters, Ajrukum ala Allah, may Allah accept your amal and your mourning ceremonies for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Tonight we will mourn, according to some riwayat as well, it is the Shahada, according to another riwayat, the Shahada anniversary of Imam As-Sajjad alayhi salam as well. And brothers and sisters, we send our hearts to not only Karbala today, but to Medina and Baqiyah, where on one hand we find in Karbala there is a shrine for the Imam alayhi salam. Not only for him, for the Shuhada. Not only for the Shuhada, for his brother Abul Fadl Abbas. But our fourth holy Imam, who on the 12th of Muharram came to bury his father, his brothers, his uncles, his cousins, his own grave in his hometown of Medina is not only not covered, is not only not with a dharih, rather it does not even have a candle burning to indicate that this is a sacred place. Brothers and sisters, our Aimma are mazloom, each of them in their own way, each of them in their own right. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdillah wa ala al-arwah allati hallat bifina'ik. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. All together please. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam's body lays without a cover on the plains of Karbala. The body is not only not covered, it is also in a state that it cannot be moved from place to place. Imam As-Sajjad alayhi salam, when he comes on the 12th of Muharram to bury the bodies of the Ahlul Bayt, of the Shuhada, there are historians, when I saw this hadith, I could not handle and I could not stop my tears. They say for all of the martyrs of Karbala, it was easier to carry their bodies and bury them. But when Imam As-Sajjad was wanting to bury the body of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam, he had to lay a mat first, collect the pieces of Imam's body, put together the crushed bones of Imam al-Husayn on that mat, and then place it into the grave. Brothers and sisters, I don't know how the night of the 11th of Muharram passed on the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. But indeed, the day of the 11th of Muharram was indeed a tragic day. It was a day of torture for the ladies and the children of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Here we have Lady Zainab and Imam As-Sajjad leading the caravan now. And it is a time that the enemies of Allah, the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt, on the morning of the 11th, they come closer to the camps, and then they say, we need to take you towards Kufa. And this is a time when they start to tie the ladies of the Ahlul Bayt in their chains and in their robes. They place a collar, the metallic collar on the neck of Imam As-Sajjad alayhi salam. Who is this Imam? He has not had energy to even get up from his bed. Brothers and sisters, now this Imam who is mareed, who is not well, he is being made to carry this heavy burden of a metal collar on his neck. And this metal collar is such that it is not only metallic and it's plain and simple, rather it has needles immersed into it. When Imam As-Sajjad returns to Medina and his uncle Muhammad al-Hanafiya comes and meets him and he hugs him, he says, "Uncle, go easy on me. My zakham, my injuries are still burning. Ajrukum ala Allah." Imam As-Sajjad and the ladies are now forced out of the burnt out tents, and they're made to now ride on camels. Now what kind of camels are these? They don't even have a saddle. They don't even have, in many cases, a shade. The ladies are made to ride on these camels. Imam As-Sajjad alayhi salam is now in such a state that when he looks at the battlefield towards the Maqtal, he is in such a state, the lady Zainab says, that I could see as if his ruh, his spirit would go away from his soul and he would pass away. Immediately she drops herself from the camel back down to the ground, and she comes to Imam As-Sajjad and says, "Oh my son, oh the remnant of the house of the Holy Prophet, you are the one who is the continuation of the house of Rasulullah. Ajrukum ala Allah. May Allah magnify your rewards." Brothers and sisters, on the night of the 11th, when the ladies and children and Imam As-Sajjad are in the camps, the burnt out tents, those enemies of Allah, they start to gather all the heads of the martyrs. On one hand, they have Imam al-Husayn's head and they send it towards Kufa, and they start to then sever the blessed heads of all of the shuhada, of all of the martyrs. They go one by one, they try to find and count and collect all the heads of all of the martyrs. I don't know how did they find the blessed head of Ali al-Asghar. But when they found it, they took it as well with them and put it on spears. They sent some of them towards Kufa, and they kept some of them to walk alongside with the caravan on the next morning. Khuli ibn Sinan is given the head of Imam al-Husayn. He is told by Umar Sa'ad, go towards Kufa and give it to Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad. Khuli, when he rides towards Kufa, he arrives at Dar al-Imara. It is very late at night. Nobody opens the door for him. He takes the blessed head of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam home, and he puts it in a big pot in his basement. When he comes to his wife and he says, "Oh my dear wife, I have finally come home. I have brought for you a gift from my trip." She says, "What gift have you brought for me?" He says, "I have brought for you the head of Husayn ibn ibn Ali. She says, what is wrong with you? You should have said, I have brought gold and silver. Rather, you are being happy saying, I have brought the head of Hussein ibn Ali. She says, I will not come near you anymore. When she goes towards the pot where the blessed head of Imam was kept, she sees a noor coming out, a light radiating towards the heavens. Ajrukum ala Allah. Brothers and sisters, the Ahlul Bayt are now made to go towards the plains of Karbala, pass through the plains of Karbala, and move towards the city of Kufa. Now the ladies of the Ahlul Bayt are in such a state that now they're seeing the dead bodies and the martyred corpses of the martyrs of Karbala. And here the ladies are wailing and crying, but as they wail and cry, these men who have no faith in their hearts, who have no mercy in their hearts, they come with their whips and they try to quieten down the ladies. Brothers and sisters, here we find the ladies call out to Rasulullah and they complain to him, Wa Muhammada, Salla alayka malikus sama, هذا حسين بالعراء مرمل بالدماء مسلوب العمامة والرداء. Oh Ya Rasulullah, this is your Hussein who is lying dead on the ground. His amama and his rida has been taken away. His body parts has been cut off. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam's body was still there. Sakina bint al-Hussein alayhi salam goes towards the body of Imam al-Hussein, the headless body, this daughter of Imam al-Hussein. The reports say that when she comes close to the body of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, she hears the sound of Imam al-Hussein from the body saying, Oh Sakina, tell my Shia, Shi'ati ma in sharibtum ma azbin fadhkuruni, aw sami'tum bi gharibin aw shahidin fandabuni. Oh my Sakina, tell my Shia that whenever they drink cold water, they should remember my thirst. Or when they remember somebody who's been martyred or away from his home, they should remember me as well. Ajrukum ala Allah. The Ahlul Bayt are now taken towards Kufa. And when they enter Kufa, the ladies of the Ahlul Bayt, Bibi Zainab, Bibi Kulthum, and Imam as-Sajjad give khutbahs in the bazaar and in the markets of Kufa. They're taken towards the Darul Imara. They are taken into the court of Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad. Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad brings and asks the people to be brought towards him. The Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam are now entering. Can you imagine the situation that the ladies of the Ahlul Bayt, those who would hardly come out of their houses, and if they would come out of their houses, they would be covered from head to toe in their hijab, are now being made to walk in the midst of non-mahram men, watching over them. And Imam as-Sajjad alayhi salam, I'm not sure, I don't know what was going through him when he was walking with the ladies. But eventually Imam as-Sajjad and the ladies are brought into the court of Ibn Ziyad. Ibn Ziyad starts to taunt them and he says, did you not see how Allah made you defeated? How did you see Allah's doing with you? And this is where Lady Zainab calls out and says, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I did not see anything but beauty here. Ibn Ziyad, when he gets this response from Lady Zainab, he is enraged. And where does he take out his rage and anger? He has a stick in his hand, and the blessed head of Imam al-Hussein is in a tush. He starts to hit the blessed lips of Imam al-Hussein with the stick. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي